Hello, loves. It's Nina with Passion Squared. Welcome back to the podcast. So, today we are going to do a little reflecting and diving into something we've been talking about literally since, late 2022, 2023, and quite often in 2024. And that is about so much of the talk we've seen about our salons slow, are all hairdressers slow. It's gone from hair to lashes to now tattooing. And it is such an interesting conversation because as with everything, it lacks context. And so I want to take this opportunity. This is going to be a longer podcast, just managing expectations right up front. This is going to be a longer podcast than typically my solo episodes are, but I believe it is so important. So back in January of 2023, every year in A School, we do a Trends and Outlooks workshop at the beginning of the year and talk about what's happening in the world, what's happening in different markets, and then bringing it back to what's happening in the salon space. So we also did a podcast episode in January 2023 on care, trust, and value. And I've been talking about the importance of care, trust, and value for almost 2 years now because I saw a trend. I saw where clients, generally speaking, consumers generally speaking, around all markets, were feeling like businesses didn't care as much. We've all seen cracks in the customer service arena, and we can talk for days about why that is. Of course, some of it was, pandemic related. However, care, trust, and value, building trust with clients, showing clients you care, and creating more value. We've done several elevating your client experiences classes, both in our A School program and for the Passion Squared community. I talked about on the pod in January 2024, the year of perspective for the salon industry. Another episode in January 2024, things to look at when your business is slow. An episode in March 2024, healthy boundaries versus walls and the confusion happening there and discounting. So I want to bring you into just some of the highlights of the 2024 Trends and Outlooks workshop I did for our A School members, because I believe that this context can help you in many ways. One, if you are exhausted by the online discourse, it will help you just quiet the noise. If you are one of those businesses that is really struggling and not sure why, this may help you get back to what the steps you need to take to get your business back on track. And so I'm going to break it down in general terms, like general business terms, and then we're going to get into specific salon industry situations that I've been observing for, like I said, a couple of years. So the talk of inflation recession is still very, very much out there. And what I said, what I shared with our clients in January of 2023 was that yes, the inflation is real. However, it was slowing. That was in January 2023. It was slowing, and it was predicted to continue to slow down throughout 2023. In some sectors, in some business sectors, a recession could actually be kind of like felt. And a good example of that was the tech sector, that at that time in late 2022, we began to see those tech sector layoffs, and they continued throughout 2023 and have continued throughout 2024. That is specific to tech because they very much overhired throughout the recession because they needed to. They needed to ramp up. And then, of course, everything kind of settled. So what I said in January 2024 was my prediction was that everything would kind of quiet down because the consumer price index in the second week of January 2024 was at 3.4%. So that was much lower than what we had seen in those kind of peak inflation times. However, there is a psychological, I truly believe this to be true still, there is a psychological recession. What I said in 2023 was there definitely is psychology that's driving inflations and recessions. And in 2024, I said the consumer's nervous. They're exhausted. They're coming off a stressful year. It's an election year in the US. And global wars do have an impact on our psychology. Consumer credit card debt is up 40% over the previous 2 years. And the buy now, pay laters are up nearly 50%. So we've got a nervous consumer. We've got an exhausted consumer. We have an election year in the US. We have global wars, and we have high debt. All of those things contribute to the psychology of a consumer, of your potential clients. So that is something to always pay attention to. And also, when you are looking at back to care, trust, and value, knowing that your clients and potential future clients could be feeling some sort of economic stress. How will you design your experience, design your pricing, design your client care strategies, knowing that? Also, when we look at just general world trends, we know that well-being is really, really important. We know feeling safe has taken on an entire new meaning. We know that purpose and value and transparency are important. We know that feeling seen, safe, and supported and valued are important. We know that psychological safety is important. So when we think of those types of kind of macro consumer trends, how do we translate that back to the salon? So we're going to talk about that. So let's get into kind of what's happening in the beauty space. So one of the kind of macro trends that I've been talking about for years, I mean, actually decades, is the skinification trend, the skinification of hair. So this is not a new trend. However, it did begin to kind of bubble back up in, I would say, probably the last 5 years. So that really speaks to scalp care. And you can look at scalp care many different ways depending on your actual brand, right? Not every one of you is going to build a head spa. Not every one of you is going to spend hours developing services around scalp facials and stuff like that. However, every single salon brand can create some sort of experience, some sort of service, some sort of offering that looks at the whole, we talk about holistic, right? So remembering that the scalp is part of the hair, right? So there are definitely ways, no matter whether you're a barber, whether you specialize in extensions, whether you're a colorist, it doesn't matter. That trend continues, and people are learning to care about their scalp and understanding how the health of their scalp connects to their whole health and also the beauty of their hair. So talked about that in 2023. I talked about the trend of shorter hair, shorter nails, shorter lashes, hybrid benefits, doing more with less, nostalgia and self-expression. We've seen that a lot. And then, of course, that continued convergence of beauty and wellness. So 2024 is the same. Restoration, skinification, scalp care, regrowth, replacement, oils, treatments, healthy hair. Again, hybrid benefits, beauty as self-care. I mean real self-care. And once again, that convergence of beauty and wellness. None of those things are slowing down. Those things are only amplifying. So when we bring that back to your salon business, when you look at the experience you deliver, not just inside the salon, but also online, because those experiences need to be aligned, how much are you taking these consumer trends into consideration when you are designing your services, when you are designing your total experience, your pre-experience, your post-experience? Because these are the things that create more value. These are the things that differentiate your salon over every other salon. These are the things that are important to the consumer, that they will see more value in. I actually just did I don't know if it was a reel or a TikTok about a $200 pedicure. And, when we think about like pedicures, we think about pricing. Most people would be like, a $200 pedicure? Are you kidding me? However, in this post that I saw, this TikTok or whatever that I saw on this $200 pedicure, the comments were like, oh my gosh, I need that. I need that. I need that. Where is that? I need that. Where'd you get that done? And typically we would think it would have been the opposite. Like, are you fucking kidding me? A $200 pedicure? This is crazy. However, it speaks so much to brand value and what consumers see value in. Not all consumers, the consumer of a $200 pedicure. Now, this happened to be a specialized pedicure. It was a medical pedicure. However, that's not even the point. The point is that people will spend money on things that they value. And so as a business, as a marketer, as an experienced designer and deliverer, I just made up a word. That's our job, right? To create those things that clients see value in. And care, trust, and value, going back to care, trust, and value, it's not hard to focus on that. To show we care online and off. To build trust online and off. To create value online and off. Now, what are some of the reasons that salons are slow? Not all salons, some stylists, some salons. What are the reasons some lash artists are slow? What are the reasons some tattoo artists are slow? I see very similar things happening across all industries. So this is what I shared in January 2024 in our A-School workshop, the Trends and Outlooks workshop. And also, I believe that I shared a little bit about this in the 2024, the Year of Perspective for the Salon Industry podcast episode. So I said the great overcorrection becomes the great realignment. The great overcorrection becomes the great realignment. So what does overcorrection even mean? Overcorrection means that overcorrection is like an extreme response to something that was not extreme. So if Mama Kovner was alive right now, she would say, let's look it up, because she was, everything was, we had to grab the dictionary for everything. So, Mom, this is for you. Okay. The meaning of overcorrection: the act of changing something too much when you are trying to correct it. Overcorrection, right? So when I say the great realignment, I mean realigning that overcorrection, right? We have to kind of dial it back a bit. So this is what I said in January 2024. Lack of availability in schedules created tension and caused clients to look elsewhere. That's a fact. That is a fact. I, as a client, have struggled with that. Lack of availability in schedules has created tension and caused clients to look elsewhere. I mean, fair enough. Putting up walls instead of practicing healthy boundaries with agreements, policies, and general experience caused consumer discourse. So all of these like trending viral, discourse between service providers and consumers, some of this had to do with confusing healthy boundaries with walls. So much of the boundary content that I saw in like 2021, 22, 23, even today in 2024, it's not correct. Walls are not healthy boundaries. Being difficult to do business with is a wall. That's not a healthy boundary. Having clear agreements is a healthy boundary. Being kind is a healthy boundary. Being an asshole is a wall. And eventually, clients just are like, I've got so many choices. I'm just done, right? Okay, what I also said in January 2024 is raising prices beyond what is reasonable and aligned with the brand has caused less frequency of visit and a loss of clients. So I've talked about this a lot because this really comes back to brand. Is price is a function of marketing, which is a function of brand and brand story, brand strategy, market position. So if you recall the price pyramid, the top of the pyramid, let's use cars, would be like a Range Rover, and the bottom of the pyramid would be like a Kia Soul. So what some folks did, and understandably, if not understanding brand strategy, marketing strategy, all of that, I understand why this happened, or I understand how this happened. So you've got someone that has a Kia Soul experience, Kia Soul market position brand, but they moved up the price pyramid beyond what the actual experience was. So I actually just shared, I think it was a reel or TikTok, elevated salon prices require elevated salon experiences. So that was the disconnect. So some people overcorrected in the pricing, and that clientele was like, oh yeah, no, not because the person's bad, the person's awesome. It was the experience that clients didn't see value in anymore. Okay, so the next thing that I shared in the 2024 Trends and Outlooks workshop about the great realignment, the rush to suites without understanding the cost or labor that comes with owning a business did cause some folks to wake up and decide they'd rather lease at a salon, or even decide to work for an employment-based salon that has awesome leadership. So I applaud people that have tried to start their own businesses and build their own brands. However, it's not meant for everybody, right? And so we saw that big rush through the pandemic, and then some people are kind of waking up saying, this isn't for me. I was just having a conversation with a friend recently, and one of the biggest things that I continue to see is that if you, and I'm not saying you literally, but you, our industry, have not been trained or educated or mentored in what actual experience design and client care looks and feels like, it's understandable that when you go out on your own without that insight, without that training, without that understanding, that there's going to be a problem. And this is absolutely contributing to some of the folks that are struggling. Because I will share, as I have shared over and over, not everyone is struggling. There are salons that are killing it. There are salons that are doing equal to what they did last year. And then there, of course, are salons and individual stylists that are struggling. In the tattoo artist TikTok I saw the other day, speaking on the same thing that, like I said, the hair industry, the lash industry, the tattoo industry, they had an interesting take. And there's no context here. Like, I have no idea. I don't study the tattoo market, but I do study consumer behavior, and the consumer behavior is the same across all sectors, right? So they were saying that this was, and again, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with this. I'm just sharing what this particular tattoo artist said. She said that what she's noticed in her industry is that the female tattoo artists are book solid and the male tattoo artists are the ones that are struggling. Again, I'm just relaying this. And the reason why is that in her view, this group of male tattoo artists were difficult to do business with, weren't actually kind, weren't welcoming, whereas the female tattoo artists were more welcoming and more kind and more into delivering awesome experiences. And she likened it to the man versus bear discourse. Just do with that what you will. So what do we do? Like, what do we do? I talk often about lifetime client value, lifetime team value, lifetime tenant or renter value, and lifetime customer value. This is a fundamental in business and marketing, but I never see it talked about in the salon industry. And so lifetime client value, lifetime salon client value is the amount of happiness, joy, revenue, and referrals a client brings you, or a team member brings you, or a tenant brings you over the lifetime of your relationship. So when we look at lifetime client value, because the truth is, it's a lot harder to get new clients than it is to retain existing clients. But if we look at some of the behaviors of our industry as a whole over the last handful of years, it doesn't feel like we give a fuck about lifetime client value. Being difficult to do business with, having limited availability, pricing not aligned with the actual experience, putting up walls through contracts and policies versus healthy boundaries with agreements. None of that says, I really care about the lifetime relationship, the long-term relationship I have with my clients. And again, I'm generalizing. I'm generalizing here. So what do we do? What do we do? Here's what I recommend and what I've always recommended, and this is the stuff we work on at Passion Squared and A School in the Creating Your Awesome Brand course. Really getting clear on your awesome client journey. That's talking about the experience before a client walks in the salon, the experience when the client's in the salon, and the experience once the client leaves the salon. The service and product offerings and ensuring they're aligned with what people value. The consultation process that builds trust. The business agreements that build trust. The online content that creates value, shows you care, and builds trust. So getting back to focusing on those fundamentals and focusing on what your clients value. Focusing on ways to show your clients they matter. Building trust through consistency. Focusing on solutions to your clients' problems. If we understand that the skinification of hair trend, again, it's not new. However, the brands have caught up in the last handful of years and started to provide products. So how has that been incorporated into your business? If we're really focused on creating solutions to our clients' problems, we know clients care because they're learning on YouTube and TikTok about scalp health when they really should be learning from you about scalp health. Again, no matter where you sit in this industry. Those are the things we want to think about. So caring can look like reaching out when clients are outside their regular maintenance schedule. We talk about that forever, right? Introducing new solutions. Thank you. Thank you notes. I mean, just caring. You all know this. You know how to care. How do we build trust? Clear communication. Clear communication, which if you ask consumers why they stop going to their salon, again, this is not new. It many times comes back to communication issues and consistency issues and pricing transparency issues. Those are all trust issues. Those are all trust-based issues. Creating value, right? Focusing on value added, doing less with more. Offering same day or next day pickup of home care products. Simplifying doing business with you. Spending more time educating clients on how to take care of themselves. These are the fundamentals, right? These are the fundamentals that when we get busy, sometimes they just go by the wayside. We get distracted. That's completely human to get distracted. So we then realign, right? We realign. We get back to cliche, but back to basics. I say the fundamentals, right? Back to executing the fundamentals consistently. Focused on care, trust, and value. Showing we care. Building trust. Creating value. So in an episode at some point this year, I talked about focusing, doing your best to not get sucked into the discourse. And like I said, first it was hair, salon discourse. Then it was lashes, and lashes are done. Lashes aren't done. And then again, like I said, the tattoo thing. It could be any industry. That doesn't really matter. What matters is you, your salon brand, the experience you deliver consistently, and staying focused on that, as opposed to getting sucked into all of these things, because there is something called confirmation bias. And again, because confirmation bias. So confirmation bias is the tendency to search for, interpret, favor, recall information in a way that confirms or supports one's beliefs or values. So I'm using confirmation bias in the context of, if there's an individual that is struggling, their business is slower than usual, and all of a sudden they see a TikTok that says, everyone's slow. And they're like, yeah, everyone's slow. I feel so much better that everyone's slow. That's dangerous, because it's out of context, because it's not true. Everyone is not slow. It just may seem like it is, because we get sucked into certain algorithms based on content that we consume. So then we start losing perspective. Get back to you, your brand, the experience you deliver, why you serve, how you serve, who you serve, the solutions that you create to solve the problems of who you serve. That's the brand story framework. one of the million reasons I created the Creating Your Awesome Brand course for our industry. When you have clarity of those things, then you're not getting thrown off track by a TikTok or by some trendy, someone says, everyone needs to raise their prices 30%. Fuck that. That's not, no. That's not the way it works. No. No. The thing that's never going to change is how much your clients, your long-term clients, your loyal clients, how much they love you. The relationship that people have between themselves and their hairdresser or their lash artist or their esthetician, I mean, it's valuable and it's precious. However, it's not guaranteed. And when people don't feel cared about, when people feel disposable, when people feel like trust has been broken, then people move on, right? People search elsewhere for that relationship. And the same thing happens in business. Same thing happens in business. Care, trust, and value. I would love to hear your feedback on this episode. If you would like a copy of any of the classes that we've done on this, I am happy to send those to you. Our DMs are always open. You can email us always at awesome@passionsquared.net. You can find us on the socials at Passion Squared, on the web, passionsquared.net. I'm so grateful for this time with you every week. I appreciate you. And I care about you. And that's why I won't shut the fuck up about this stuff. There's a couple more days left in Mental Health Awareness Month. And I haven't had the best week. And it reminds me how precious every fucking moment is. Because not all day, every day, forever is going to be hard. So I wanted to remind you of that because I've been like going through it. So what do I do when I'm in that space? Just take 1 second at a time, log off the socials, remind myself to be where my feet are. Of course, I do my daily gratitude list in the morning with my morning journaling. One day at a time. One day at a time. I'm so grateful you're here. Thank you so much for your trust, for your support, and for your love. I hope you have a peaceful day. Bye.